Line up, you f***ing nerds. Who wants a shot at the champ?
They bring the heat.
Francis Ngannou is the hardest puncher in the history of fighting.
They bring the knowledge.
If you think this fight is going 5 rounds, you are out of your mind.
They bring you the picks.
The dog is getting it done in this one.
We deliver every single week. We're bringing the heat, ladies and gentlemen.
The money line.
Don't miss it on the MMA Experts channel each week. The Money Line. We are live. It's Monday. It's 8:15 p.m. Eastern Time, and we're covering UFC Vegas 78. I'm AJ, joined as always by my guy Mike Finch. What's happening, bro?
I'm good in the neighborhood, brother. Just counting all my winnings from over the weekend. That makes it not 1, not 2, not 3, but 4 parlays in a row. And you know, when you were on your live, I jumped in there. And who did I tell you that I added to my parlay?
Jakey Paul, son.
Jakey Paul. And that made it even money. Jake Paul, Corey Sandhagen, Tatiana Suarez. Is this not the easiest free money we've seen all year, folks? That's why I threw some money down on it. So I'm a happy man, bro. Some free dinners over the weekend. You know, I took the girl to Cheesecake Factory with those winnings.
Nice, my man. Good. I hope you got like an Oreo cheesecake or something. What'd you get? What type of cheesecake?
No, the Oreo's disappointing. If you're going,
I haven't really had it before. Yeah, you got to tell me.
You're speaking like somebody who hasn't had it before.
Yeah,
okay, I just gotta say that. No. If you're going to Cheesecake Factory, you get the Reese's peanut butter cup fudge ripple, whatever the Reese's. That is insane. Okay. I like peanut butter. It is insanely good. And then if you don't like cheesecake, you might say, "Hey, Mike, I don't like cheesecake." Wifey gets the Linda's fudge cake.
That one's good too. Interesting.
Good. Okay. Real good.
All right, Cheesecake Factory. I did go years ago, and I do think I went with the Oreo and was underwhelmed. So knowing that, next time I go, it's either the fudge or the peanut butter, bro. Because I don't know, man. The Oreo it misses the mark, bro. It's overrated.
Trust me, bro. Trust me. You try that Linda's fudge cake. You're welcome, man. We got the entire. It's expensive. You get the full cake for her birthday. Full Linda's fudge cake here. And then for my birthday, she got me the entire Reese's cake. It is insane. Shit. Okay. I'm sure the calories are just stratospheric. So definitely go do some cardio after that.
Yeah, dude. Yeah, no, listen, I've been staying on top of the cardio, man. I've been staying after it. I fucking got to keep the waistline trim. If not, you'll see AJ with the round face back. You know what I'm saying?
Back. Yeah, it's funny as I watch Moneyline seeing AJ change. AJ's such a young guy. Every 6 months, he's a new person.
Yeah. That is true, man. That is true. I see it. I look different all the time, man. But hey, this is the signature look. You know, I got the beard lined up. I feel refreshed, renewed, and excited to talk some fights. I do want to cover last week a little bit and just discuss the card, talk about obviously the Paul and Diaz fight before we get into the fun of this week. So let's just jump right to the main event. Let's be real here, Mike Finch. The main event was not the most entertaining fight ever, but Corey Sandhagen used an intelligent game plan, totally exploiting the hole in Rob Font's game, but also showcasing that his wrestling has really turned a corner. I think Sandhagen's top game is looking probably the best. I would say not even probably, absolutely the best we've ever seen. And it's a wrinkle that he's added to the game like later in his run. I feel like mainly we would think of his violent striking technique. For him to run through Rob Font for 5 rounds, it was an impressive showcase of the skill set. He also said his tricep was torn in the first fucking round. Did you see it on Instagram? He posted it.
I saw that purple tricep, and I also saw one at the gym today. Shout out to Coach Jordan, showed me his purple tricep. Shit. What's going on with these tricep tears, bro? That's probably why he wrestled. But AJ, now that you threw it to me, I gotta say, did I not say exactly that? Did I not say that Corey Sandhagen's new wrinkle in his game that he showed us against Chito Vera was the deciding factor here? So that's exactly what I expected, brother. I wanted him shooting takedowns. He challenged Font. He was saying he's going to be able to take down Font. And you heard what Font told Michael Bisping in the fighter meeting. He's underestimating my grappling. Guess not.
Guess not, man. It was the perfect game plan. It was dominance throughout the whole fight, without doubt. Now, for Corey Sandhagen, with a fight like that, that doesn't have the fans clamoring, I think you got to then dig back to some of his epic wars. It's not like this is a common thing for Sandhagen. So I still feel as though He's in a very good spot to potentially fight for the belt. The issue lies upon who is champion after, 2 weeks from Saturday being, Aljamain Sterling or Sean O'Malley. There's a lot of factors I think that are going to go into the matchmaking later. Who knows? Maybe if Aljo wins, is he going to try to do what he said and jump up a weight class? We got Merab in the picture. Without an Aljo champion, Merab is probably next in line too. So it's a jam-packed division. Sandhagen might be next for the belt, but I wouldn't be surprised if he's not the next guy in line.
Because of that performance, it's probably not the biggest pay-per-view draw to put Sandhagen directly into a title shot. I see exactly what you're saying. And Merab is so obviously up there. You've heard how Dana feels about the Merab situation, how he always feels about, I don't want to fight my friend. When it's for the title, Dana wants to see you fight your friend. You know what I'm saying? So we'll see what happens. Henry Cejudo obviously keeps chirping from the sidelines. He wants that fight with Merab, which I think, Henry versus Chito Vera made a lot more stylistic sense for Henry than the Merab fight does, I must say. But something like that makes sense for the top of the division too.
I like the Merab versus Cejudo fight. That's what I'm
going
to say I'm on. Yeah, I like the style because Merab's so known for, his pressure. And then, fighting an Olympic gold medalist, this is going to be crazy. That's the fight I want. For the division, Sandhagen is right near the top. Maybe a Sean O'Malley Sandhagen fight, but there's, so many puzzle pieces that have to really come perfectly in line. Because I'll say this, a Sandhagen Aljo rematch, it isn't a great pay-per-view sell. It's definitely a fight that has to be a co-main event on a card. I don't see that as a main event at pay-per-view. Or a fight night. Maybe a fight night. Come on.
They need pay-per-view fights, AJ. I mean, look at the upcoming pay-per-views here. I saw one that they're trying to build for, is it September or October, where clearly they don't have a main event yet. Like, no, they need some big pay-per-view fights. They're definitely looking to make matchups that sell. That's why you're seeing like a Hamzat Chimaev fighting a Buday. They need big fights. Those are two guys they both like to see win. Buday, he should be getting big fights to propel him up, and he's a huge middleweight, and you wouldn't expect them to give somebody like that to Hamzat. But again, I think they want big fights this year. They're looking for them.
Yeah, agreed. I'm excited for what's next, man. Let's look at the co-main event because this was a showcase for Suarez. She proved what I think that we already had known was quite possible, but what she showed is she's competent too in the stand-up. You're not going to be fighting her purely on the feet and she's just a sitting duck to strikes. She can kickbox too, and she's a long girl. Then add in the constant takedown threat, and when she gets on top, she finishes. Suarez is a scary woman. Suarez right now is the boogie woman because she has a win over the champion up a weight class. She had a win over former champ Carla Esparza. And I think that she stylistically matches up well with the current champion being Zhang Weili.
I wrote some notes on the commentary on that fight. And man, I was about to throw my controller at my TV listening to Dominic Cruz here. I'm trying to pull this up. Oh God, it was so bad. He was talking. I can't find it. He was talking about the guillotine, and essentially what he was saying. He said something like, "Oh, she can't finish it here. She doesn't have her hands clasped." It's like, Dominic, you got choked out by a one-arm guillotine. What are you talking about? She needs her hands clasped. You absolutely do not need your hands clasped in MMA. The best example I could possibly find you is Dominic Cruz being decapitated by Uriah Faber in the WEC with one hand. So Tatiana Suarez, what did we say? Is living with Patchy Mix, who has the best guillotine in this sport right now. And so her guillotine's only getting sharper. When I commented on her post, I put a butcher knife because that wrist is now a knife. And then she's looking to slice these ladies up with it, man. That guillotine's going to be nasty, even from the top position as girls try to explode up and expose their neck. That guillotine is so tight. It's so hard to get out of. They only know how to cinch it up deeper. So even if the arm does stay in, right, she could actually just turn that corner, lose the arm, rethread, and go high elbow guillotine Marcelo Garcia style. They've got those nasty chokes at 10th Planet Vegas, and you just saw one of them in that Tatiana Suarez fight. Folks, if you made money, if you bet with the guillotine, show us some love here today. We I know I definitely trusted it, and she's so much bigger than Jessica Andrade. Did you see them in that cage, dude? She is so tall, so long, undefeated. She doesn't know what it's like to, to be where Andrade has been these last couple fights, and that win only does that much more to propel her confidence.
I agree. I think that she's going to be next in line for the title, and I want to see it. I mean, Suarez undefeated in the sport. She's been the boogie woman for years. I've known that she had a skill set to compete for a long time. It's just injuries have, plagued her run. Now it's time. It seems like it's all lining up. For Andrade, she's in a weird spot, though, because, you dig back to 6 months ago, she was a top contender at flyweight. Now she's lost 3 fights in a row, and it seems like she's wilting in these fights too. Now, I think Suarez beats, even the best version of Andrade, but regardless of that, I don't think Jessica Andrade's body language in these fights looks good, man. I'm worried that even at only 31, there's a lot of miles on the car that it could be all over for her. I mean, another loss would be 4 down.
Yeah, but she is fighting the top of the division, AJ. I mean, I see what you're saying, right? The one side of it is, right, she didn't even look that upset when she lost this fight. She didn't look that upset when Tatiana Suarez was getting her hand raised, almost like she expected this to be a high probability of how this fight ends. Obviously, being an underdog, you have to consider that as a possibility. The other thing, though, is that, come on, man, she fought the top of the division. Right. You put an OV at the end of her name, Erin Blanchfield. Yeah. Tatiana Suarez. These are like, A+ level of the division. Let's see what she could do with a girl who's not like a top 5 talent. And, then I think she'll bounce back. I don't think she's going nowhere. Jessica Andrade still has a few ladies to slam through the mat. And by the way, to cap off Dominic Cruz's funny commentary, I mean, how funny his other biggest butcher ever was Jessica Andrade. She can't lift her from here. Boom, slams Rose Namajunas on her head and knocks her out, just to put another dagger into the great and powerful and pretty good commentator Dominic Cruz, who was definitely making me feel some type of way on Saturday. But hey, Dom, we love you, buddy. I love Dom Cruz. What a great fighter.
Let's go, Mike Finch. I like the hot take, though, on the commentary. Keep an eye peeled for Finch's commentary criticisms. I'm expecting more, my man. I'm expecting more.
Anytime you're with me here, if you watch a whole card with me, I'll be pissed about something. So commentary is my favorite, man. That's what I like to do. And hopefully I'll be sitting right next to Dominic Cruz and I'll be able to tell him in a couple of years. Yeah.
Let's go. Finch, that was a good co-main event. I got to bring up the underdog Jacoby put out in Nchukwi. Nice. One shot, a little bit of ground and pound. Now, obviously, a lot of complaints about an early stoppage, and I'll side with I would have liked to see more time, but I can bring up this point. Nchukwi had horrible body language. It's not like he's sitting there scrambling, trying to come back to life. He's wilting down and turtling. It was a little fast, and the shots were not really landing. But at the end of the day, the way he was down was like, a guy who's on his way out of a fight. He's like, I'm good. That's it. Let me just cover up. I think body language is something that even the referee's looking at. It looked to me like Nchukwi was, like didn't get knocked out flat, but he was done. He was turtling. And I think that is why he jumped in as early as he did, because it was a really big straight shot that put him down. I got to say, Jacoby's got that beam down the line, and it seems like the biggest weakness in Nchukwi is the fact that he's hittable right down the center. We've seen him get caught time and time again. And now getting his lights put out in his fight that really was going to turn the corner for him. If he would have won this fight, he's on the way to contendership. Jacoby gets him out in the first.
Yeah, no, all facts. And he has to be able to deal with being hurt better than that. You're right. And when you turtle up like that, the referee is going to take that as a signal that you want out of there, or that you're so hurt that you don't have any other response. The quote is to intelligently defend yourself. When you put up blocks, right, that is the last line of defense. What's the first line of defense in boxing? Don't let them hit you. A slip, a pull, a weave, a roll, right? You don't want to just sit there and block and cover up, because that's not showing an intelligent defense. If you're driving your car and somebody slams on the brakes in front of you, you're not going to rear end them. Why not? You got a bumper, that's what your block is. It's rear ending the car in front of you. You want to change lanes. You want to hit the brakes. You don't want to sit there and take shots on your forearms. No reason to get hit. So if you're hurt in MMA, the best thing you could do is clinch, close the distance, wrestle, in my opinion. If you turn away and you cover up, it's going to trigger that ref to stop in every time. Something that, something that will need to happen if he wants to stay in fights. He's going to have to respond better to being hurt. Agreed.
Listen, bro, Jacoby, he kept his space at number 15. He's like, nah, you're not taking me over, because he was, in a spot here where they were looking to give Nchukwi the chance to break through. And, he's a big, scary dude. He's marketable. Unfortunately, knocked out here. He's still young. I mean, I think Nchukwi's still a dangerous guy in the weight class too. But, dude, until he can figure out these straight punches, I think it's going to be a problem as soon as he, gets put up there to fight a quality guy with good kickboxing again.
100%. This was a big win for him, man. Get a knockout in the UFC at that level. That's a big win for him. That's exactly what he needed, brother. I think he's good. I think he'll be able to hold his spot. Dare I say gatekeeper? It sounds so dismissive, to say gatekeeper, but keeping the gate is a job.
Listen, he's doing a good job at it, man. He's doing a good job at it. Let's get to the fight right before. I just got to bring up Lopez and shout him out, because he got a sick first round sub. And honestly, holy hell, I think Diego Lopez is a problem right now. Fast, right? He just came into the UFC, split with Movzar. Some people maybe thought, it was the beginner's luck type of thing. And then he broke Gavin Tucker's arm. So I was uber impressed by Lopez doing what he did. It was the fact that he beat him so handily is what I really enjoyed about this performance. It was like the way he should win if he's looking to be a contender. Nobody had done that to Gavin Tucker on the ground. Yeah, he'd been knocked out before he got caught by a big punch, but he never been bullied like that, and his arm broken, and him, being known for his grappling strength was badass.
Grappling strength, you could say that with the broken arm, right? To break a limb, that's some Frank Mir shit. That's some Frank Mir, Tim Sylvia moments, right? Remember, Tim Sylvia's broke right underneath the elbow. Herb Dean, stop. Tim looks up, I'm fine. They're like, look at the replay, bro. Look at your arm break. Yeah, to break a limb, that's power. That's power in your grappling. That's what you get when your hips are behind something. And by the way, somebody was saying in the chat, they were asking me about the Cody Durden arm bar. And why he didn't get the submission there. But if you look, his hips weren't behind it the same way. When you get full leverage behind an armbar, it's when the fulcrum point is right on your hips. If your hips are not quite where the leverage point is, it's hard to break somebody.
That makes sense, bro, because he toughed that one out. Definitely felt it. It was straining his arm, but not enough to snap it, not enough to tap.
It was a hybrid triangle armbar. So if you want the triangle, your legs are engaged on the neck. That's a strangle. You want the arm lock. That's a completely different submission. And so if you want a true full leverage armbar, it's difficult to get that when you have a triangle locked in. You get a nasty armbar with the triangle locked in. Don't get me wrong. Fedor Emelianenko and Fabricio Verdum, if I'm not mistaken, was a triangle armbar, right? So you get the great Fedor to tap. And Fedor knows a thing or two about arm bars. It works, but to get maximum leverage, you want your hips behind it, and that's not what he had. He had the triangle locked in, and that would make it so that it's potentially survivable.
Let's go. Mike, I agree. And we have to touch upon one last fight before we get into this week. I don't have a graphic for it, but it's Jake Paul versus Nate Diaz. They went 10 rounds.
Let's go. And I do got notes on that one.
Jake Paul won. Listen, I'm excited to hear him. I was happy to see Nate go long with Jake Paul. I was glad that he didn't go out there and get chinned. I think it was a fight that he lost and was clearly at a disadvantage throughout the vast majority of it. The simple lack of punching power that Nate Diaz can generate with his hands really allowed Jake Paul to absorb shots without much worry. Paul's throwing heat back at him. Of course, Nate relatively durable. I would say still. He was hurt a couple of times in that fight, and, it's credit to Jake Paul hitting pretty damn hard. What I love, though, is these guys definitely made a killing on the fight, man. I'm hearing 7-figure paydays is not what they're getting. It's 8. 8-figure paydays.
Nice,
bro.
man.
I'm
Good
hearing
for
they're getting 10+ mil. So I'm glad to see
Thank
that Nate Diaz getting a bag and a half, the biggest payday of his life, to go box. He didn't get a cut on his face, man.
Right? I know. He had fun in there and he was able to walk out with the biggest bag ever. That's great. Okay. First round. Might have been the second round. One commentator, I didn't recognize his voice. It wasn't Dan Hardy. Says Nate can't throw a 1-2. Brother, have you ever seen a Nate Diaz fight? You're going to tell me Nate can't throw a 1-2. Now, what Nate said after the fight was he had an injury. What was the injury? I think it was a shoulder, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
And he said that made him fight more Mexican style in the gym. He was just getting in there body to body. He wasn't snapping a long 1-2 in training. And he thought that came out in the fight, that he kept fighting Mexican style, putting pressure forward, smothering punches. He did that to McGregor in their first fight, if you remember. He was too close for Conor to get off all the power. When you throw a punch, you want it to catch somebody at the end of a straight punch, like a whip, right? You ever have somebody whip you with a towel? It's right at the end of the towels where you leave the bruise. So you get too close and you smother the punch and it's not as good. Nate was doing that to Jake a bit. And you mentioned Jake's power, but early, AJ, right? I mean, I think for the last 5 rounds, the power was pretty similar. Jake gets a little tired and he starts moving backwards and shit. Jake's a sprint car. He's not a marathon runner. He's definitely a guy who tires out and slows down a little bit. So me personally, looking at that fight, I thought it was kind of close, man. I think the difference was the knockdown that Jake Paul got. I had 6 rounds to Jake, 4 rounds to Nate. I heard you say 3 rounds, Nate. And 7 rounds, Jake. That makes sense as well. Nate looked good in those last couple rounds there. Yeah, and then I wanted to mention how when Diaz got a good combination off on Jake Paul, now this was earlier, is it round 3, round 4? He gets a good combination off, and then they go to break, right? And what do they do during break on the best moment that Nate had? They interview the rapper that walked Nate out in between rounds on the inside the arena. Oh yeah, representing the 209, blah blah, whatever bullshit he said. It extended the rest period. I think that they were playing games and they had that ready. I bet you that if it was a good round for Jake Paul, they would have kept that shit rolling. But it was a good round for Nate. And so, let's give Jake an extra 30 seconds to rest and go interview somebody in the crowd. Another thing I saw is that when the referee would step in, when Nate would land something, he would give instructions more. These little things make a difference in a fight. And I don't ever want to, see a bias for a specific fighter. My God, is this, each Jake Paul fight, everybody seems to want Jake to win who has anything to do with organizing the fight. Come on, boxing. That's not what we want to see, especially when people are betting on it. I bet on Jake Paul, but it's like we want fair fights, folks. Did you think that the interview in between rounds was a little peculiar, AJ?
I was expecting an interview between rounds because during the Tommy Fury fight, they interviewed Logan. So I guess I didn't think much about the time. I didn't track the time. It wasn't even on my mind. I didn't notice that it was extended a little extra, man.
Ty says, how does Finch not know who E40 is? From Huntington. He's from my town. Disrespect for me, bro. Damn, I'm gonna have to look that up. My fault. E40. There we go. Yeah, I must say that one went over my head, dude. I do not know. Nate looks wobbly here. One of the commentators says when he was rolling with shots. Come on, folks. Yeah. So some of these things I wrote down, I was just a little unhappy with, how people seem to like Jake, from the referee to the, the commentators to the, give us a fair fight. I thought Jake won the fight. I thought Jake won 6 rounds plus the knockdown, so it should be uncontroversial. But Nate had moments, and the fact that Nate is a former 155-pound fighter, and he's going up to 185 pounds when Jake Paul can barely make it, right? Jake Paul looks very lean. It goes to show you that Nate Diaz really is very durable and very capable, and that, Jake Paul's picking fights. I mean, this is a picked opponent, and he couldn't finish him. If you're going to call out a guy who was a former lightweight, you probably think you should probably want to finish that fight. There was no way he was finishing Nate Diaz, man. Nate Diaz was coming on strong. You give Nate a couple more rounds. I don't know how many times are we going to say this about a Nate Diaz fight, but especially in this one, since he wasn't bleeding, I thought Nate showed out. I mean, last thing I'll say about it, who loses better than Nate Diaz? Every time Nate Diaz loses a fight, his stock still goes up. Yeah, Talk about winning when you lose. That's the Diaz way.
Yeah, it is, man. Listen, I was impressed by Jake Paul to beat Nate, regardless of potential discrepancy in the size and whatnot. The fact that in a short period of time, Jake Paul's gone from a YouTuber with, Disney past to even beating these guys and having the level to be able to go in and fight and having the confidence to do it. I got to say, man, I'm becoming more and more impressed by Jake Paul. I actually watched the documentary last night about him and then on the come up and how he got into it. So I guess I'm more on the team Jake Paul now, bro. I'm a Jake Paul fan, bro. He's a badass, dude.
Give me one thing.
Yeah.
Okay. The commentators, and now I'm going to give it to Dan Hardy.
Yeah.
I love Dan Hardy. Full reptile. Shout out. He goes, one thing's for sure. You can clearly see that Jake Paul has made significant improvements after that loss, to Tommy Fury. Significant improvements. He was no better. Jake Paul did not look 1% better against Nate Diaz than he did against the Tommy Fury. Tommy Fury's just a damn good boxer. Tommy Fury's a boxer. He's an in-season boxer. The difference was the opponent, not Jake. False?
I think Jake looked a bit better. Yeah. I think a bit better. He looked a little bit more smooth with his combos. I feel like he was a little clunkier against Tommy Fury. I feel like he was able to kind of set things up a little better. And also, I felt he was a little more relaxed. Like he was going on the back foot with more comfortability, I would say. It seems like he's getting more comfortable as he keeps getting in there. Now, him and Tommy Fury, again, is a fight that's already on my mind. It's hard to say. Does he beat a Tommy Fury? It's very difficult. I see another close fight. The issue lies is Fury's got so much boxing experience, man, from doing it as a young kid to, fighting Jake Paul. It's one thing fighting MMA fighters, fighting guys that are a little over, their expiration date, maybe in some senses. It's another taking on a guy your same age, longer arms, more boxing experience.
Actual boxer.
I think that, but I got to say, bro, I've seen a lot of boxers through the years of watching boxing, being in the boxing gyms. Jake Paul definitely beats a lot of pros right now. Not guys that you're seeing on TV that are 15-0, 21-0. Guys that are like these guys that are 7-2, 5-1, 4-0. I think Jake Paul is definitely to the level that is expected of a guy with a 7-1 record at the least. I think he's fighting good opposition.
I agree, but he just made $10 million. It's like I think it's fair to judge him on a higher standard than that. And this idea that he's so much better or whatever, I don't know. I just I think he's good at beating retired MMA fighters. Mm-hmm. I don't know that he's going to do a whole lot beyond that. I don't know how much better Jake gets, but he didn't, when Nate Diaz is taking rounds from you and boxing you up in 8 and 9, I don't think that was the performance they wanted. I don't think that was the performance they wanted at all. And I don't think Jake's stock goes up very far after that fight either.
I feel like Jake's stock is this, it's everybody wants to watch him lose, man. They want to see him take an L. He'll fight the next guy up. I think he might go to MMA, fight Nate Diaz, make a fuck ton of money. I got to say, Nate's in a spot where if they do a rematch in MMA, he's going to get so much because it's going to be part of PFL. If they allow, a little bit of a co-promotion with Real Fight, I think then you throw, the Jake Paul name, you put Nate Diaz, do it in the cage. A lot of fans are tuning in to watch Jake get his ass kicked. A lot of people want to see him lose. Everybody wants to see him take an L. In MMA, I mean, come on, man. Nate Diaz, he's got so many fights. He went 10 rounds in boxing. Now, the only way Jake could pull something off is in the first 2 minutes, bro. Drop some hammers on him, multi-shots. Right. Yeah, that's the only way. As soon as we get later, I see Nate on his back. I see Nate strangling him.
Nate is an interesting fight for people in MMA because he's used to being the nail. And what I mean by that is Nate is never the hammer. He's not the guy coming forward, roughing you up, you know? I mean, maybe moments against Pettis or in moments against McGregor when he gets him tired or whatever, but pretty much Nate is very lackadaisical, out of position, getting his legs kicked, flicking you off, telling you where he's from, ending up on bottom. He's not so it's an interesting fight for Jake where Jake could probably be winning a lot of the fight and then get choked, you know? That would be like probably how the fight goes. And if you guys look at what is out there of Jake Paul doing MMA, he got fucked up by AJ Azagram, who's like 140 pounds. And my friend Razor Rob McCullough, shout out, my neighbor right over there. He reffed the fight. And so, you know, I'll have to interview Razor Rob. We'll have Razor Rob on and ask him about the MMA skills of Jake Paul, since he knows more than anybody else. Okay, done with that. Can I bring up Igor's?
Agazarm's a good black belt, though, man. I got to give some respect to Agazarm.
Fuck yeah. But like, smoked Jake.
Yeah, it's expected though. Smoked. How many years ago though?
Time ago. Okay, he's better. We got a real Jake Paul fan here.
I'm supporting Jake, man. I gotta be honest, man. I think I'm not saying he's the next fucking WBC champ or holding the PFL strap, but I think that he gets a lot of flack. But he's a fucking warrior, man. He really has the heart of a fighter, and I respect his influence. The fact that he's been able to blow up social media is like, it takes a special individual, and I got a lot of respect for that. And then to do the boxing, I respect it, man. I respect Jake Paul.
Right. I mean, okay, on that level, I respect people who really got to go in there and do it. You know, a lot of people want to say Bruce Lee was the greatest fighter ever. Bruce Lee never fought nobody. You know, he didn't go do Vale Tudo. He didn't go risk his face, his nose, his lips, his eyeballs. You know, you got to get in there and fight somebody. You gotta, you know, in order to be the best, you have to go in there and beat the best. And Jake Paul is attempting to actually, he goes in there and actually fights people. You know, I remember hearing a podcaster ask Nate Diaz, was the fight fixed? It's like, is the fight going to be fixed? You know, that's how silly people are. No, these fights are real. I mean, he really is going in there and fighting. And at that level, I do respect him as well. Igor Ramos brought it up, but I'll just say it. The Rock giving a house.
Oh, to Themba. He gave Themba. That's nice, man. That's nice.
Come on, bro. That was amazing. So shout out to The Rock. How cool is that, bro? That was an amazing video, an amazing moment. How cool.
People were still shitting on The Rock, though. The fight is getting nothing on the shoe deal.
Dude, here's my only beef with The Rock. You ready? Yeah. He goes to a UFC event. He announces that he's doing The Smashing Machine, the story of Mark Kerr. He says, you know, I'm doing the story of Mark Kerr. Crickets, right? He gets the audience reaction. So what? Now they're not doing it? Now they're not doing it. I haven't heard anything about it. Don't go announce it. Tell us you're thinking about it. Gauge the reaction. He said he was doing it, and now he's not, as far as I know.
Yeah,
he's not. To see The Smashing Machine, bro. What?
I did too. That was a cool movie idea. I thought that would have been interesting.
The Smashing Machine. If you guys haven't seen the documentary after the show, it's free on YouTube, I believe.
Let's go. Dude, Mark Kerr is a dangerous man. Hey, shout out to Ali Point V TV, the mother bleep Moneyline, AJ and Mike Finch, send $2 their way, people. I appreciate you dudes. Where's me bloody Bellator picks, laughing face? $4.99.
Decent Bellator card coming up.
Listen, Bellator, it's hard for me to cover it. You know why? Because I'm covering Contender Series. Immediately following this stream, you know, I'm going to start recording my Contender Series breakdown. So expect that around midnight Eastern time. I'm covering Contender Series, man. I'm bringing the heat with that. Thank you, Ali Point VTV.
Thank you, Ali. I appreciate it. Logan Storley and Brennan Ward is a dope fight. Every time you see Brennan Ward live, it's phenomenal. I will give you one. Valentin Moldavsky was smoking Steve Mowry up until that eye poke. What are the odds, though? Are they going to kill me on the odds? Yeah, minus 250. I guess that's not news to you then. I love Steve Mowry. It's so hard for me to give Bellator picks. Haven't worked there for so long, so let me not do it. But one more fight. Dalton Rosta, Aaron Jeffrey. Bro. The Bellator card's actually dope.
It is a good card, man. Bellator bringing heat on Friday. Listen, I'm bringing the heat. Mike's bringing the heat. We're bringing it right now. We're going to get into the picks. As I just announced, Contender Series picks are dropping after this show, so keep your eyes peeled on the channel. I want to start this card off. I want to get into the fights. We have Juliana Miller versus Luana Santos to start the card. And also make sure you guys smash the like button if you haven't. And if you're new, subscribe. Mike, I am riding with the UFC experience, Juliana Miller, to get the win over Santos. What I saw from Santos was good double legs. She has a good athletic grappling game, but also a couple fights back, she lost and she was put in bad positions against a girl whose name is now escaped me, but it's actually just recently signed to Bellator. So that's, I guess a positive factor, right?
Yep.
Juliana Miller still went through the ringer of the Ultimate Fighter, came out the winner of the show. She's been in the UFC a bit now. I know everybody's writing her off after the Veronica Hardy fight, but I'm kind of giving more credit to Veronica Hardy now, especially going back, rewatching it, having known the result. I don't think Miller looked as bad as in the moment I was feeling that she looked, being a big favorite going into it. So I expect Juliana Miller very live in this one. I'm going to pick her to beat Santos. I even said sub. I think she might get Santos's back because Santos is looking for these head and arm throws, and she's giving up her back doing it. Miller can capitalize, man. So give me Juliana Miller.
Brother, good fight to start off the card. These two women both have bright futures. Santos is 23 years old and very good. A judo black belt. She knows how to do a bum rush double leg really well too.
Yes.
You remember Ronda Rousey was incredible at judo, but didn't have double leg takedowns. And I always thought that was a problem. And sure enough, against Holly Holm, the judo wasn't working. She couldn't clinch. She needed the double and didn't have it. This is a woman who already has it at 23 years old. She's got a great double leg as well as those judo clinches. I love the dynamics of both. Jenna Bishop took Santos's back, and you saw the lack of jiu-jitsu for Santos in that moment because she had a hook in on the left hip and then an underhook on the right arm. So she controls the right arm. She was out, and yet she didn't spin into her opponent. She allowed her opponent to get both underhooks and both hooks back. And I do believe she eventually won that fight, if I'm not mistaken, against Bishop. But it just shows you there could be some moments on the mat where 10th Planet San Diego's Juliana Miller could have some success. Then it comes down to the feet and the grappling for me, though. Is Juliana Miller going to be able to get these takedowns? AJ, I'm not so sure. I like the UFC experience. I'm such a big fan of Boogeyman Martinez, who runs that gym. The Bellator fighter. Oh no, I'm forgetting her name. Who trains with Juliana Miller? You know who I'm talking about. Pineapple Princess. Elimele McFarlane. Elimele McFarlane is incredible. Incredible. Elimele McFarlane is a great human being. I think it's a great training partner for Miller. I think there's a lot of things going for her. I'll definitely say I'm totally not betting this fight, but AJ, I'm going to be on the other side on this one. Yeah, I like this 23-year-old prospect. I think the judo black belt and the ability to control where the fight takes place comes into play. Split decision.
All right. Finch going split. I'm going sub on the other side with Miller. Shout out to Ali Point VTV. He says there's 100 people in here. Send $2. We appreciate your generosity, Ali Point VTV, and hyping the people up. Much love, bro. Irving Houston, my guy. Thank you for the $5. He says thanks for the good content. You're a gem, bro. We appreciate you throwing us $5, man. Much love to the donos in chat. I do want to bring up the odds on the fight here. The odds for it have Juliana Miller as a slight dog at plus 125 to Santos at minus 145. I'm picking Miller to win. She happens to be a bit of an underdog. I see it as a pretty coin flip fight, as a lot of these, developing ladies fights are. Neither one of these girls has more than 10 fights as a pro. So there's a lot of experience being lacked on both sides, but I am going to ride with Miller. Finch going Santos. If you were to go on the sub side of Juliana Miller, I want to read it off. It sits at plus 410. I would have liked to see it higher, I guess. It's a close money underdog, so it makes sense. It's not crazy high. Sub is live, I would say, but ultimately Santos is not an easy girl to face off with. And we got another dono in chat I got to bring up real quick. My guy, KZ, he says Jake Paul is a bozo. I disagree.
Tell AJ to stop being a fan.
I disagree.
What the fuck?
No.
What
Jake Paul's
this,
a genius, bro. Jake Paul's a genius. Jake Paul's
a fan of the Paul brothers. My
goodness. I'm repping Jake Paul,
we expect better from you, AJ.
Nah.
Thank you, KZ.
KZ, I appreciate you for the dono, but I disagree on what you said about Jake, the fucking Jack Paul. Much love, KZ.
50, that's not US dollars. What is that?
I don't even know.
kind of money are you sending? What type of Dogecoin is these? We appreciate it. I said thank you. I'm just wondering what kind of freaking crypto this is.
NIO. What's an NIO?
NIO. That sounds like that. There's like a car company in China called that, right?
Yeah. He said that it's NIO stock, actually.
Thank you for the NIO stock. Electric vehicles are the future. I agree.
Let's go. Let's get to the next fight on the card. It is between Montserrat Ruiz and Jaqueline Amorim. I'm going to pick Jaqueline Amorim to submit Ruiz in this fight here. Now, with Ruiz, she's no joke of a wrestler, 7-time Mexican national champ, which that jumps out on the page, and she's a strong girl with good pressure. But damn, if there's any kryptonite style to that type of wrestling onslaught, it's the slick jits. It's the slick jiu-jitsu of Amorim. I know she lost to Sam Hughes, and I was high confidence on Amorim going into that fight with Sam Hughes. I was excited. I thought she would sub her, and sure enough, in the first round, she had multiple close rear naked chokes, ultimately loses the fight. Ruiz, I think, is going to put herself into bad positions. In the striking department, Ruiz has an okay game. She's got a little sting, but it's not anything I'm jumping up and down about. Amorim, okay in the stand-up too, doesn't shine there. I expect these two girls on the feet to be in an interesting match, but I do think they'll clash in the grappling styles. I expect Amorim to find a sub. I'm saying she gets it over Ruiz, Mike.
Yeah, Ruiz can decide where the fight takes place, and she does have that nice little headlock position she gets to on the ground where she throws the little hooks to the face. That shit's annoying, but Amorim, nasty on the ground. I believe a jiu-jitsu black belt, right? And the striking is nice. She's got that good long cross that she uses. She has a knockout with that, right? I think I wrote that down. Yeah, she's definitely solid on the feet. So Amorim, better on the feet, better jiu-jitsu. Ruiz can decide where the fight takes place, but she's the shorter girl. She's going to have trouble getting to Amorim, and Amorim with those nice long jabs and crosses. Good, strong, wide stance, too. I like Amorim wherever this fight goes. Maybe a submission.
Maybe a submission. I like submission. Amorim money line minus 240. With Ruiz at plus 205 as the dog. Amorim by sub is minus 150. That is a terrible line. Minus 150 for sub? Wow. I thought it would be plus money, man. I thought at least plus.
Yeah, wow. They expect the sub.
They expect the sub. I think the style does match up well for Amorim to sub her. So we're on the same side, Amorim to win, and I feel pretty confident she gets the sub off on Ruiz.
I'm with it. Yeah, Amorim sub, but wow, that sub line was atrocious.
Yeah, wide line, unfortunately.
I got to money line it or consider that in a parlay if you want Amorim.
Let's go. Next fight on the card, we got Martin Buday versus Josh Parisian. One of these, heavyweight slobber knockers. We got two big boys, heavy set builds on both sides.
Yes, sir.
I'm going to pick Martin Buday to win a decision. I think that Parisian's a little sloppier. I think Buday is tighter with the striking, regardless of him being less than impressive. I mean, he still's got a pretty nice record as a pro at 12-1, technically unbeaten in the UFC. I think he's better with his overall game than Parisian. I can't really see Parisian being successful with the wrestling either. I mean, in certain matchups, he can use it. I think Buday will be strong enough to fend off takedowns and find strikes. I think I'm going Buday on the cards decision.
Buday could KO him, but Parisian's actually hard to get out of there, dude. Parisian has fought a few strikers, and he could actually make it to the scorecard. So, yeah, I think he has to lose this fight to Buday. Buday just going to pack more of a punch, much more defensively sound, and probably gets off some big shots on Parisian. So I think there's a potential KO here, but Buday all day.
Buday to win money line at minus 230, Mike. And the over 1.5 is minus 245. It doesn't surprise me to see these guys going past the round and a half. So that over is interesting. I know minus 245 is not a great tag, but more in a parlay type spot. That's not bad in my opinion, bro.
Yeah, I guess not. I guess the over is an interesting one. There's a risk, we got heavyweight strikers. I mean, don't tell me there's no risk this shit ends by KO. But if I had to guess, if you told me it was a knockout, I'd still probably guess third round when they get tired, right? So yeah, that's interesting. I don't think I'll bet that, but that's interesting.
Buday, the pick for us both. I think he's getting it done, man. He should beat Parisian here.
Yeah.
Next fight, Moneyline's the best side. Next fight on the card, we got Francis Marshall versus Isaac Dulgarian. That name gets me, bro. It gets me, the Dulgarian name. Reminds me of something from like Game of Thrones, man. And I'm picking Dulgarian to win against Francis Marshall.
Right.
Listen, I think that Dulgarian's a scary dude. He came into the UFC, supposed to fight Argueta. That fight scrapped, and now gets a spot against Francis Marshall. I know the argument can be made towards one of two ways. Dulgarian's running everybody over. We've never seen him go late. But then the flip side of that is, damn, he's running everybody he fights over. Nobody's going long with him, even in his amateur career. So he is a pretty bullying force. He's a strong wrestler, man, and he's vicious from the top, and he is going to look to finish with subs. I think Marshall's a decent guy, but I'm not that high on him. I think he's a decent enough fighter. He's got potential. His stand-up game is solid enough. He brings okay pressure. But I think in the wrestling, he's going to be at a disadvantage for sure. And Dulgarian's work from top has impressed me, regardless of the competition. I think the way he smothers them, smashes them, and gets them out of there is impressive. So Dulgarian, I'm saying he finishes Marshall too by sub.
Dude, yeah, I was having trouble with this one, man. I was going back and forth. You know what fucked me up was that I was thinking Marshall, and then I wanted to make sure, and so I looked at some of his older fights just from a couple years ago, and I was like, God, his striking is so bad. His footwork was shit. Just very like he was doing this in the UFC too, where he throws jabs with no intention of hitting the opponent. You know, I hate seeing that shit. If you're going to throw a punch and not hit somebody, it's to set up the second shot, right? Like Chuck Liddell would show you that long lead hook because he wanted to move you into the cross, right? And so when Marshall throws the jabs, he's just like putting them out there and then like waiting. It's like, oh, hey, dude, you can get that shit countered, you know? When AJ knows this, when are you most vulnerable in boxing? When you're throwing a punch. Your hands aren't there to protect you anymore. As you throw a punch, you're vulnerable. So can Dulgarian capitalize on that? Are his hands fast enough? I don't know. Dulgarian usually makes a habit of taking people down. Marshall will be hard to take down, no mistake about it. But on the floor, Dulgarian seems like he has better submission ability. So it's a tough pick for me. I personally might stay away from it. I understand why some people think Marshall. I'm going to double up with you, bro. Give me the Game of Thrones Dulgarian, and I think it's because he's going to be a little better at striking. That one knockout Marshall had was a crazy one, breaking off of the clinch. Like, by the way, Marshall is good punching off the clinch. I put that in my notes. I was actually impressed. When you break off of a clinch with somebody, throw punches. Marshall does a good job, but overall his striking's not that talented. Dulgarian is more talented with it. Give me Dulgarian. Might sneak a submission in there, but decision.
Dulgarian for the win. I'm going to say knockout, bro. He's a finisher, or excuse me, submission. He's a finisher, bro. I think he's going to find one here. Knockout's possible too. So Dulgarian inside distance plus 210. Money line for Dulgarian plus 142. The money line's your best option. Minus 162 for Marshall as far as his side is the favorite. Both going Dulgarian. Dulgarian by submission is plus 450. He's definitely got the submission chops. I could see him locking up an arm triangle on the ground. He does have, you know, a wide array of finish types, man. You look, he's got ground and pound win, knockout, sub rear naked choke, sub arm triangle, and then a knockout punches minute 13. I think the chokes are live here, or the strangles being arm triangle or rear naked. And I think ground and pound is live too. So on the ground, it's Dulgarian beating up Francis Marshall. Money line, A side. And then, you know, if you want to do prop betting, maybe you go sub for the big plus.
Yeah, I could definitely see him getting that rear naked strangle, dude. And shout out to Stanley. Fuck you. This is a Mike Tyson tank top. Iron Mike Tyson, baby. It's Mike Tyson. Okay, I can rock my Mike Tyson tank top on our fight show, folks. Don't give up. Come on, son. Get out of here with that shit.
That's funny as hell. Dulgarian for the win. And you know what? I also got to shout out the nickname, the Midwest Chopper, man. He's got the makings of a badass UFC fighter. I'm on the Dulgarian train. I like his style. I like the aura, and I like the way he fucks people up. So, and I don't think Marshall's that good. And that's the honest truth right now. He's a young guy. And I think Dulgarian's going to be way stronger. He's got that man strength and the wrestling edge. Give me him.
Yeah, I see it, bro. I just think Marshall's wrestling is pretty damn good. So it'll be interesting to see how the wrestling goes. That I don't know, because Dulgarian is good at hitting these takedowns. And the reason why I picked him is because I don't even think he needs it. You know what I'm saying? I think he's going to be fine on the feet. So good fight, man. Fun one.
Let's go. Next fight on the card, it's Terrance McKinney versus Mike Breeden. McKinney coming in on short notice to take this fight, I got to say. Happy to see him back, especially in a fight where the competition takes, a nosedive. Mike Breeden is more towards the lightweight back end, whereas Terrance McKinney was fighting in the mid-levels. I think he should run over Mike Breeden in the first round. Breeden's been knocked out in the first round before. I think Terrance McKinney is still a pretty dangerous guy. It's just he's running into hard fights. Nazim Sadikov beats him, Ismail Bonfim. And if you take the positive out of the fight versus Sadikov, he had Sadikov's back in the first round. He was dominating the fight early. It seems like the second and third round is just enemies of Terrance McKinney for whatever reason. I think he gets Breeden out of there in one.
Yeah, we gotta think McKinney bounces back here, man. I mean, Terrance McKinney on this little skid is kind of crazy. But yeah, Bonfim is a real talent. So is Sadikov. So I think this is a much more winnable fight for him. Mike Breeden, obviously does have good striking, but he's going to be at that speed disadvantage, and Terrance McKinney's dynamic. You don't know what limb he's going to throw at you. I think Terrance McKinney jumps on the gas here and gets a knockout.
I think it's going to be early, man. I think he's all
could be
over
a sub, bro. I could imagine an AJ club
and
sub too, man. That's live as well. So yeah, Terrance McKinney hopefully jumps back on it, dude. Let's say first round.
He's got this fight. Listen, he's a minus 290 favorite to Mike Breeden as a plus 230 dog. I think this fight's going under 1.5. That's minus 300. McKinney to win by KO is plus 200 with a sub at plus 150. And then with the McKinney first round at minus 140. Wow. McKinney's expected to win in the first round, man.
Okay.
Yeah. I'm going McKinney, though. First round knockout. Sub is live too, though. I get what you're saying on that for sure.
Yeah, we'll double up on that. I personally keep a McKinney money line. You know the name of the show, folks. But McKinney is definitely I don't want to call him a first round fighter, but kind of,
man. There's evidence that he's a first round fighter. A lot of it.
At this point, the evidence does kind of suggest that. So, as he ages, he's a young kid. I got to meet him, and a really nice kid. As he ages and gets a little more relaxed in there, maybe he could extend that out, because it doesn't seem to be any reason other than he just likes heavy, being a lead foot on the gas pedal. He has a style where he could use movement too, so I could imagine him extending it longer. If he needs to win a decision, I think he'll do it. So yeah, McKinney in this matchup all day.
McKinney for the win. Let's keep running. Next fight on the card, we got Marcus McGhee versus JP Bays. I liked Marcus McGhee coming in on short notice to fight Journey Newsom. I picked him there. I'm picking him here against JP Bays. I think he's a dangerous guy, MMA lab fighter. His stand-up is there. And something about Bays that is an issue is he's fucking just getting hit with these rights, man. These straight shots seem to find home to his chin in his matchups. He doesn't look bad, but then boom, they find home. He doesn't come off to me as a super slick striker. I don't think that's what you get. You get pressure striking. You have toughness with him. He's a strong wrestler. I do think that JP Bays has kind of been given a shit hand in his UFC run. I don't think he's as bad as it's looked. You look Cody Durden last time, Montel Jackson in the fight before that, and then Bruno Silva previous to that matchup. 3 hard fights. None of those guys are, bullshit level. Those are all solid mid-ranked guys inside of the UFC. Now you give him Marcus McGhee, who's, coming in with 1 fight, beat Journey Newsom on short notice. I just think he's going to land the bombs, man. I see him touching him up with strikes. McGee's live for sub or knockout here, and he's a straight finisher. All his wins are finish. What do you think, Finch?
JP Bays, remember in that Montel Jackson fight, took him down and mounted him. You know, JP Bays has been in these fights, and the one loss we have seen from McGhee was a rear naked strangle. Seemed like a face smash to me. I couldn't get them to show me an instant replay on UFC Fight Pass, but you know, if his issue is somebody taking his back, I think Bays might be the man for the job. So Bays, I think, is live here for sure. And I saw the odds like minus 400 for McGhee. I think that's kind of disrespectful to Bays, dude. I think Bays is in this fight for sure. He's, you know, competent striking. You know, has gone to decisions and whatnot when he's lost. But I think McGhee's a better striker. And he's pretty freaking hard to take down, you know? And on the striking, too, I like how he switches stances. You'll try to kick him, and he'll switch stances to make sure your target is moving. And so, you know, I believe that it'll be difficult for JP Bays to get a lot off on the feet. And if he's starting to get stuffed with the takedowns, you could imagine where McGhee could start running away with the striking here, potentially a KO, but I would say decision. But if somebody said, hey, Mike, coming into this, I wanted to bet Bays, if that's what you see, I kind of see where they're coming from, because if he can get on McGhee's back one time, which would not be the first time, you know, the rear naked strangle's live, and Bays is competent, man. He's not a can. So I you know, you sort of said it in the beginning there, but just to put that into reality, like, he was full mount on top of Montel Quick Jackson, and you know, there are some similarities. Montel Jackson, obviously very good striker, pretty difficult to take down too. So yeah, give me McGhee, decision or knockout, but Bays is probably not minus, you know, he's probably not as big of an underdog as he looks to the odds makers.
I like it, bro. I like the take. I like that you brought up Montel Jackson, and I like that Michael Bowman dropped us a 5, the grand master of the live chat. Some reason my Dono account is depleted, question mark. I don't know, Bowman. What do you mean it's depleted? You're saying that it's saying you never donated? Because I have no idea, man.
It's depleted because you donate to us every weekend, Michael Bowman, and we appreciate it, my friend. Thank you so much. Thank you from Huntington Beach. I will take my $2.50 very, very happily. So anything you give us is appreciated, Mr. Bowman. That was very kind of you.
Thank you, Michael Bowman, my brother.
Thank you.
Listen, I'm going to read the lines off for the fight. Of course, as Mike already brought up, it's a wide line towards the Marcus McGhee side. It's minus 360 for McGhee to JP Bays at plus 285. McGhee by knockout is minus 145. That's ugly. McGhee would just be more of a parlay addition, I feel. And then does the fight go under is minus 155. If you're with Mike Finch and you're leaning that decision, it is plus money at plus 125 with a McGhee decision prop at plus 475. But note, McGhee has never been, I don't think he's ever been to a decision, but I know he's never won a fight by decision. Let's bring this up because now
JP Bays is 9-5. That's fucking crazy, dude. But look at these losses: Bruno Silva, Montel Jackson, Cody Durden. Those guys are good.
Listen, note something about McGhee, Mike Finch. Never been the distance as a pro. He went the distance in his second amateur fight in 2014.
Yet. He's in the UFC now. He's going to go to a decision. You know, I was watching his fights, and he is impressive. He definitely is, but he's like patient and he's not going to, like, you know, Terrance McKinney people.
No.
You know, he'll go to decision in the UFC for sure. Maybe this fight.
Michael Bowman, that's funny. He says, because I gave it all to you Saturday, silly. Hey, well, I appreciated your time on Saturday, Bowman.
Monday, Mike. Wait till Monday. No, I'm just kidding.
Thank you, Michael Bowman. Much love. Listen, I'm picking McGhee. Finch picking McGhee. Throwing up some potential yellow flags about the McGhee bet side, with Bays being, you know, a guy that's been in bad matchups, but maybe not as bad as he looks on paper here. So McGhee the pick. But I like the cautionary tale that Mike Finch is reading off to you guys, especially with lines this ugly at minus 360 for McGhee.
I mean, yeah, it's his UFC debut, right?
Second fight in the UFC. He fought Journey, yeah.
Come on, man. Oh, it was Journey Newsom.
It's
Journey fucking Newsom. You know what I mean? Like, respect to anybody who fights in the UFC, but it was Journey Newsom. Okay. JP Bays isn't Journey Newsom. And
Journey's
I know
a watcher of the show, Mike. He's gonna reach out to you.
Oh shit. Journey, I don't want the smoke. Journey, I don't want the smoke, but everybody knows Journey is a journeyman. And you know, it's this is a better fight. So yeah. McGhee decision. We beat it to death.
Let's go. Next fight on the card. It's gonna bring us to our main card. Let's start it off. But first, make sure you smash the likes. And if you haven't subscribed to the channel too, we got Josh Fremd versus Jamie Pickett. Mike, I got to go with Josh Fremd here. And, you know, in the past, I've been the Fremd fader. But Jamie Pickett is a guy that can be passive in fights. I don't like how he backs up. I don't like that. You know, I said it on my breakdown on, I guess, yesterday. So I said, listen, I don't like that Jamie Pickett gives up real estate in his fight so easily. He gets comfortable going on the back foot. In the small cage, you're going to have the cage there, right? He's going to run into it. And Josh Fremd is a guy who is more of a pressure-based fighter. I like Fremd being the younger guy. I like the fact that we can say Fremd hasn't necessarily shown us everything he's capable of yet, whereas I do believe we've seen what Jamie Pickett has to offer. I've watched a ton of Jamie Pickett throughout not only his UFC career, but his multiple Contender Series fights. He wins certain matchups that I think he has favorable advantages over his opponents. But damn, I think Josh Fremd, with the frame that he brings, is going to give Pickett problems on the grappling aspect of the fight. So I'm going to say Fremd ends up subbing him.
I told all you folks that Fremd was going to sub Dumas, and you guys hated it, but it fucking happened. I think he gets a submission here too, man. Pickett is in this fight, though. You know, I don't think Pickett's out of this one, but it's like, you know, I think Fremd is good enough at jiu-jitsu where even if he's getting a little out-muscled in this fight, he'll find a way. So let's say Fremd climbs on his back and strangles him. I'm with you, AJ. Submission. Give us Fremd.
Fremd is, you know the line, Mike Finch? Did you look at it at all?
No.
Minus 325 for Josh Fremd to Jamie Pickett at plus 275. That's a wide line.
Whoa. Okay, I don't have that much confidence in Fremd. Pickett's definitely live at that. Well, now I wish I would have watched more tape because Pickett's live in this one.
Plus 220 for Josh Fremd by sub. I think it's quite possible. I'm picking Fremd to win it. But yeah, I don't like seeing Josh Fremd at a minus 325 when, bro, let's be real. 2 fights ago, Trayshawn Gore just strangled him.
KZ, Dumas looks like he sells Fremd a gram for $40 in high school. That's racist, KZ. Look, I think Fremd is just going to be better on the ground. It's just a matter of, like, does he get it there? Does Pickett bully him in the clinch a little bit? Right. Pickett's definitely stronger. I mean, looking at these two guys next to each other, Pickett's shoulders are like twice as wide. Right. So that has to play some factor. So yeah, personally, with those odds, fuck betting on this one.
Yeah. Fremd for the win. I do feel pretty good about him winning. I just don't like to see how wide we're looking at as far as the money line betting side. Next fight on the card, it's Tafon Nchukwi versus AJ Dobson. This fight gets me actually kind of excited. And I know people say, what the fuck? You're excited for this fight? Yeah, I am. Because AJ Dobson is somebody coming into the UFC that I was relatively high on. And I've always viewed Nchukwi as a guy that has a very menacing appeal. And I feel like when you look at these two fight, I start sitting on it and I'm like, damn, Nchukwi's got it. Strong as fuck, built like a little freight train, hits with power, dig back 2 fights. Look at him fight Asmat. He loses by flying knee, but he won the first 2 rounds. Asmat beat the shit out of Dustin Jacoby. And look at Dustin Jacoby sniping out Nchukwi the other night. So I'm riding into this fight like, okay, Nchukwi's getting a bad rap because Carlos Ulberg chins him. Let's be honest. If AJ Dobson was thrown the same matchup against Ulberg, he looks similar. If he was thrown Asmat, I don't think he's getting out of the second round. So I'm liking the style of Nchukwi. His physical strength. I think he has a pretty competent Muay Thai game. He's not overly impressive throwing huge shots, but he does what he needs to do to win. I don't see Dobson being overly successful in the wrestling. I think he's going to be getting touched up and moved backwards. I like the frame. I like Nchukwi's base. I think this is one of those matchups that favors him. I think he'll do well against a slim guy like a Dobson. Look at Nchukwi's UFC wins, and you can kind of see physical comparisons to those opponents, right? So we look at Nchukwi's win, starting it off in the UFC. Who did they throw him? Jamie Pickett, who we're just talking about, decision win. His second fight, he loses to Jun Young Park by a majority decision. Park's a bad motherfucker.
Yeah,
he beats Mike Rodriguez by a decision. And then the Mirzakhanov and Ulberg fights. The fights that he's lost inside of the UFC, I think, are against some game savages. And he knocked out William Knight this fucking 2 minutes, 30 seconds outside of the UFC too. So like, I don't know. Nchukwi's one of those guys that, you know, has come across some L's, but I think he's better than his record. I think that he wins against AJ Dobson, man.
Yeah, I think Nchukwi should make this look like the Mike Rodriguez fight. He was able to take Mike Rodriguez down, still mostly striking though, and can kind of shut him down. AJ Dobson, he can wrestle. You know, he's coached by Mark Coleman. Right. But he's not it's something about his wrestling IQ. Like when he was fighting Jacob Malkoun. Jacob Malkoun goes for a guillotine, right? Falls off the guillotine. Pure scramble moment, right? And what does Dobson do? He just waits. He just sat there. And Jacob Malkoun's like, I guess I'll take top position again. It was a very strange moment. And you heard Bisping on the commentary acknowledge that. You know, it's like he doesn't take advantage of certain situations. You know, if a fighter stumbles, you know, that's when you want to punch him in the face. When they make a mistake, you need to capitalize. And I think Nchukwi is just going to be a little bit smarter, a little bit more competent, and control the striking and potentially hit a takedown or two. If he gets a takedown or two, that's when this thing gets lopsided, right? So yeah, give me Nchukwi as well, AJ. Decision.
Nchukwi for the win. Moneyline is not looking bad. Right now, Nchukwi is obviously going to be a bit of a favorite here, but the tag is in the relatively playable zone at just minus 135. Looking at the other side, Dobson plus 115 dog. I like Nchukwi to win a decision. He's good at winning these decisions against certain styles, and I think this being one of them, plus 175 decision win. Give me Nchukwi. Give me win on the scorecards. I like a close money play here. I think it's very intriguing to me with Tafon here. I like him.
I like it, brother. Yeah, I like him all day. Decision. I just money line that shit.
Yeah, money line. That's the money line side. Nchukwi for the W. And let's keep moving on up this card. Next fight on it. The ladies going after it here. It's Polyana Viana versus Iasmin Lucindo. Mike, I got to go with Lucindo. I really tried to sell myself on Viana pre-picks. I'm like, okay, Lucindo's a little young at 21. Is she got holes on her game on the ground that I can maybe say are going to get her put in bad spots? But then I'm watching Viana sub kind of mid-tier fighters. You know, Lucindo, even at the young age of 21, is a fucking tough girl who believes she's going to win all these fights. Like certain fighters, Mike, and you know this, you know, they kind of wilt a little bit. You see fighters that have a tendency to slightly wilt when things go sideways. I don't really see that with Lucindo. I see a girl that's going to go 100% until it's over. So now if they go to the ground, I said, damn, Lucindo's strong on top. I mean, you look at her last fight, she beat up Brogan Walker. She was a huge favorite there. I doubted Lucindo going into that fight. I thought that Walker had a chance to beat her, which was a horrible take at the time. But damn, Lucindo proving me wrong, son. I'm going with Lucindo here. I think she beats Polyana Viana by a decision.
Damn. Okay. Fuck. No, I gotta go Polyana Viana. Look, I was just so impressed with that KO over Jinyu Frey. I mean, say what you want about Jinyu Frey, you don't knock her out in 30 seconds. Like Jinyu Frey could box. Polyana Viana went out there and slept her ass. And Lucindo is good. You know, I could see Lucindo dragging this out longer than 30 seconds. That's for sure. But is she gonna get to the top position? I mean, how good is her wrestling really? I don't know. I think Paula Viana can scrape this one out. So it's probably a good fight. It's probably a really good fight. Meaning like competitive, you know. Polyana Viana decision. Are you eating right now, AJ? Because I've heard people roast you in the chat about this. I was just reading this earlier and I decided to skip.
This is my thought.
I don't give a fuck, mate. I don't give a bollocks.
Well, Lucindo's taking her out, Connor. Connor McFinch. I'm going Lucindo. I'm going with the young girl. I think she can win this shit. I like her to pull it off in a fight that, betting wise, of course, there's going to be a little bit of nerves, right? With Lucindo at minus 185. I understand she's a young girl, but I think she's got more dog in her than Viana. I think when it gets tough, Lucindo's going to shine. Minus 185, Lucindo. I feel good about, man. I'm riding with her, brother.
If you're playing the drinking game at home, AJ said Lucindo's got the dog in her. So you can take your shot now, folks. Holy shit. He waited all the way until the main card to drop it. Unbelievable. She's got a dog in her. Yeah, of course she does. What the fuck? What, Polyana Viana ain't got no dog? What, lost to Tabitha Richie got you off the train? Come on, folks. I think this is going to be a good fight. Is it not a close fight?
It's a good fight. It's a good fight. I just like Lucindo a lot here, man. I like Lucindo.
My cat's trying to come on the show right now.
The cat's telling you, bro. The Lucindo pick is the side they're calling you towards, man. The cat's trying to tell you something, my man.
I'll listen to her. She did just talk to me right now. I'll listen to her. Listen, folks, Polyana Viana's riding the hype, dude. I think when you get a 30-second knockout, you realize your potential. You finish somebody quick and you go out there in your next fight and you're kind of on that cloud still, So I think Polyana Viana starts fast and pisses you off, AJ.
All right, Mike. Let's see if she pisses me off. We're going to find out. Listen, lines for the over. I had somebody just ask in the chat. It's minus 180. It's the same side as Lucindo to win. I'm going Lucindo. I think she's going to pull it off, man. I'm riding with it. I
do like over Nick Saucy in the comments. Yes, give me Viana decision.
I'm going the opposite. I'm going Lucindo decision. We're going back and forth in this one, Finch. And I'm excited to see these ladies go after it, man. This is a good fight. Next fight, featured bout. Mike, this is kind of our guy. It's Khalil Rountree versus Chris Daukaus. Khalil Rountree, I said it last week, actually. I brought it up because Jacoby fought. I said, shit. I really do think Jacoby could have got that decision. Regardless of that fact, he's being thrown a way different matchup in Chris Daukaus, and then Jacoby just jumping his stock up, sleeping, and I guess not sleep. You're going to shit on me for that. Stopping Nchukwi with somewhat of an early stoppage, but he put him down with a beautiful punch. Whatever. Rountree here versus Chris Daukaus. Bro, I'm going Rountree knockout. There's 3 in a row for Daukaus. Guys, listen, this is the weakness for Chris Daukaus, man. Do I have to say it as it is? Okay.
You have to. I get it. I mean, I get it.
You get it. That's it.
You gotta say it.
Heavy-handed guys with similar frames that kind of look like, to the body type of Khalil Rountree tend to be the weakness of Chris Daukaus. That's it.
Oh God, I'm glad we're not on any. YouTube's the only one who can cancel us, really. So
I'm just saying similar frames, muscular guys with big, heavy hands.
Yeah, I heard you,
bro. I heard you. And Rountree's a better, I think, kicker than like the likes of Curtis Blades or even the likes of Derek Lewis. I know Rosenstruik's a good Muay Thai kickboxing practitioner, but Rountree's got the 8 limbs down pretty well. He's been in the UFC a long time. He's a heavy-handed guy. Chris Daukaus can box a bit, but dude, the chin has got to be a huge question. 3 knockouts back to back to back, and now you throw him Rountree in the light heavyweight debut. I think it's trouble.
It's fucking trouble, dude. Can we have a moment with the UFC matchmakers? Guys, what the fuck? I mean, you have to give this dude powerhouse striker after powerhouse striker when that clearly is what he needs to bounce back from. Like, why are you sentencing him? Like, what? He's going to move down. You said it yourself previously, too. Like, he finally went to be a full-time fighter, right. Quit his job. I believe it was a firefighter, police officer. Gets knocked out by Derek Lewis in the first round, knocked out by Curtis Blades in the second round, knocked out by Jairzinho Rosenstruik in the first round. And so what do? They give him Khalil Rountree. Come on, folks. Of course, Khalil Rountree is a bad matchup for him. Powerhouse striker, going to be difficult to wrestle with. Daukaus is going to want to do more than just box with these guys, but he's going to have difficulty doing that with Rountree. Is he going to take him down? Maybe. But when he's dropping to 205, I think he had other matchups that could have allowed him to at least get off this track he's on. Unfortunately, there's no way you could pick Daukaus in this one. and I got to fade the police officer again and just think that he gets knocked out. And honestly, I don't want to see it. I would much rather see Daukaus at least get a fight back and then fight him if you need him to fight another powerhouse striker. But here we go again, right?
Here we go again. This is the week. Like, you're so right, bro. You look at what Daukaus was doing, right? When he's getting wins at heavyweight. I'm going to say a couple of names and you're going to see a similarity. Shamil Abdurrahimov, Aleski Olinik, Rodrigo Nascimento, Parker Porter. What are all of them? Slow strikers. They're not guys that have much speed on the feet. They don't carry big power. They're a little bit stiff. Let's be honest here, man. Rountree is to the exact same, not the exact same as Rosenstruik, but the kickboxing background. And look how that turned out for Daukaus. I think he's getting put to bed again. Bro, guys with heavy hands fucked Daukaus up. Azuna Azuenye, before he got to the UFC, he got chinned by him too. Heavy-handed guys are the weakness of Daukaus. And I think a good striker like Rountree, he's going to be on point, man.
Yeah, man. And the odds aren't even crazy wide on this one. Look at Rountree on a nice little streak here. Dustin Jacoby's a bad motherfucker. I don't care if that was a split decision. Carl Robertson, Modestus Bukauskas. Those are, that's a nice little streak. And minus 200, you got to like the powerful Khalil Rountree in this matchup.
Let's go. Rountree by KO. What is that line? Because I just want to read it off. Minus 140. You're better off money lining minus 175 Rountree. And then Daukaus is plus 150 as an underdog. It's Rountree. It's knockout. It's a confident pick.
Yeah, it's Rountree, it's knockout, it's a confident pick. And it's a sad one because I feel like it's the same fight over and over again for Daukaus. So hopefully Daukaus can make this one go to a decision at least. That would be a step up for him. But you'd have to think not only Khalil Rountree, you have to think Rountree knockout.
Rountree knockout. Yeah, that's what side we're riding on. Let's go. Let's get to the co-main event. It's between Cub Swanson and Hakeem Dawodu. I got to pick Dawodu by decision. I like Cub Swanson a lot, man, but he's 39 at this point. He took a bad loss last time out to Jonathan Martinez. Rather, though, we have to bring up a true point there is it was down a weight class. Swanson's last fight at 145, he fucked up Darren Elkins in brutal fashion. So that was rather impressive. But Dawodu, I think, is going to match up well with him. His Muay Thai style, I think, works good against guys that he has similar statures to, right? A tall guy like Juliana Rosa, unorthodox, fast hands, was able to touch him up. Now you might, but Swanson's kind of tricky with his boxing too. Absolutely. But giving up the reach by a bit, giving up the youth by a bit, it's very hard for me to say Dawodu's going to lose to a Cub Swanson. I can't say that. I'm going to say Dawodu by a decision over Cub Swanson.
I could see why Dawodu would win a decision against Cub Swanson, but I just did an interview over at UFC Gym Costa Mesa, and that is owned by Cub Swanson. So let's go, Cub Swanson. I'm picking him in this fight, a 100% biased pick, and you will not get a clean pick out of me in this fight because Cub Swanson might be my boss next week. Let's go with Cub Swanson getting this one done. The veteran does it on the feet. Look, Dawodu's coming off of a loss, and Cub Swanson's a great striker. It's possible Cub finds a way to win this fight.
Listen, I'm going to go Dawodu. I understand Mike Finch is in a precarious position where maybe he feels, pressured. So, Mike, I'm going to dig into you a little bit. We're going Swanson by TKO?
I mean, I think that Cub Swanson, if you can get Darren Elkins out of there by TKO, then yes, he could definitely win this one by TKO. He's a good boxer, man. I mean, remember his boxing coaches. He was training with some of the best professional boxing coaches in the world. And I believe that could come into play. So fuck it. Yeah. Let me say he starts working the hands, throws a kick up there and gets this thing over with. Again, if you finish Darren Elkins, you could finish a Dawodu. Not that I think Dawodu's out of this fight. If you guys are betting Dawodu, I'm not telling you to. I'm just saying that I'd prefer not to pick this fight. Okay. All right. Cub Swanson knockout, if that's what you really want to hear.
Plus 180 for Cub Swanson to Dawodu at minus 210. I'm going Dawodu for the win. I think he pulls it out. Dawodu to win it by a decision is plus 165, whereas the side of Swanson by a KO is plus 700. So, Mike, you would be the mystical Mike if you call that one, dude.
I'd be swimming in it, bro. I don't know. Yeah, I think Cub Swanson's live for it, but I'm gonna not bet this fight, folks.
Fair. Listen, Mark Bagley, thank you for the 983. He says I deducted 17 cents because you guys were 17 minutes late. We got to get more accurate with the time, bro.
Were we 17? Is that even true?
We tend to be at least 10 to 15, Mike. Really, the show says 8 p.m. Eastern time, but it's like 8:12 p.m. Eastern time.
Yeah, we gotta kind of let you guys filter in, you know. I still get I still saw people in the comments say, "Oh, I wasn't here on time." But fair enough. Hey, the 17 pennies, bro. I hope you you use that for something good, okay? Pay some tax on something good. Get something good for me. My wife tonight, she's dragging me out to this Barbie movie. So, you know, there's a little.
Where's your Pink, bro? Where the Mike? I need to see Pink. What's going on over here? I was hoping to see you in the suit.
Thing to me. First of all, Ken doesn't wear pink. What the fuck?
That's what they're doing.
Ken doll with pink on. It wears blue.
It's 2023, my man. He wears pink, buddy.
I saw Atomic Bomb. Why am I forgetting the name? The guy who made the atomic bomb.
Oppenheimer.
Jesus. Yeah. Come on, Mike. I saw Oppenheimer over the weekend. I didn't dress like a bomb. Okay.
No?
I'm gonna let the wifey wear pink.
Smart. Listen, I wouldn't be wearing no pink if I was going. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying it's a common trend.
My fucking Iron Mike Tyson shirt. Okay. I'm gonna wear my.
You're wearing that too? They're gonna throw him out. They're gonna say, "Who's this toxic masculine?" They're gonna say, "Take him out of the theater."
You know what I'm saying? Come on, folks.
Oh my god. That's funny.
I'm not fucking around. I'm going in there in the fucking Mike Tyson tank top with my boxing shorts on, bro.
Good. I like it, Mike. I like the way you're styling. Listen, Dawodu's my pick. Mike Finch, picking Swanson, potential future boss, bro. Mike Finch. If you're working with Swanson, then maybe we got to get him on the line. You know, we got to bring. Him on the
we
line.
do. Well, I saw. Man, I'm not doing good with names right now, but Michael Bisping and Cub Swanson both own that gym. Hopefully, we'll all be friends here very shortly. Okay. I slide into the UFC commentary position knowing Mike Bisping. You see what I'm thinking, brother?
Yeah, it's smart. Listen, what is it? Networking and connections is a major key amongst your successes, my man.
You know what I'm saying? You gotta know some people in this world. No, it's gonna come from hard work and me doing my commentary. But I'm just saying it'll be nice to hang out with those guys. I've seen Mike Bisping around. I saw just this Sunday, I saw Mackenzie Dern at the beach. She's there. What do you think? I go up and bother her? No, I don't say nothing. But I saw Mackenzie Dern at the beach with her 7-foot tall boyfriend.
Oh shit! Is he in the NBA? I'm just curious if it's an NBA player. I didn't know. Maybe she got with somebody from the fucking Lakers or something like that.
He's not quite 7 feet, but next to her, he looks like it, you know? Okay. So it was cool to see Mackenzie Dern. I've seen Mike Bisping out on the pier. I don't go bother them, you know? But, you know.
Save that to me for Bisping. If I saw Bisping, I'd have to go up to him.
You go say, what's up? He was with his family, you know?
I'd say, hey, what am I going to do? I'd say, I'm not trying to bother you in your family time, but let me take a picture. You know what I'm saying?
Take a picture? See, I don't need no picture with Mike, bro.
I like Mike Bisping, man. I like Mike Bisping. I grew up on Bisping.
I like him too. I still roast him for spitting on the corner of his opponent, and then he ends up working for the UFC. It's a funny turn of events, right? But you know, Bisping, I mean, talk about donating your body, sacrificed his eye for the game. That's
scary. That's scary. Listen, Mike, you know what time it is? It's time for the main event of the evening. If you guys are enjoying the show, make sure you smash that like button. If you're new to the channel, subscribe. Keep it locked in here on the MMA Experts channel as I start cruising towards 20,000 subs. We're getting closer every single day. Moneyline every Monday with my guy, Mike Finch. We got a good main event here, Mike. It's Vicente Luque versus Rafael dos Anjos. To me, I really see Vicente Luque taking him on the 5 rounds. Dos Anjos, I mean, come on, bro. 39. Good grappler, but undersized here against Luque, who trains with Gilbert Burns. It's not like he hasn't seen higher level grappling looks. And then the fact that Luque was also a dog kind of surprised me. Besides, though, an obvious intangible that we must speak upon, it's that he dealt with a brain bleed a few months back, which is concerning because he really took a bad loss to Jeff Neal. regardless of that fact, if we expect a Luque who is near his normal self, I expect him to be able to outstrike a Dos Anjos, fend off takedowns, and honestly threaten with grappling too. Luque has a nasty Darce choke. We can't sleep on it. And I think here he gets 4 out of the 5 rounds and beats Rafael Dos Anjos.
Yeah, no, that brain bleed you're talking about, I mean, talk about no joke. Like, you know, who knows where he's at mentally. It really makes me hesitate betting on him, you know, because, you know, you got to really like Vicente Luque in this matchup. He's going to be really hard to take down. He's a much bigger person than Rafael Dos Anjos is, and his striking is excellent, you know, and Rafael Dos Anjos is not the heaviest handed guy. He's an output guy. He's a cardio guy. And it seems like Luque might be able to at least win the first 3 rounds, right? You did see like Bilal start to wear on him, but you know, Bilal's a big 170 and RDA is not. You guys who watch the show know I've had the pleasure of training with Rafael Dos Anjos. The guy is a cardio machine. It is amazing to watch him work, man. Round after round, he never slows down, and that'll be his weapon for sure against Vicente Luque. Vicente Luque is going to have to really, really be technical and very sound in this fight. And if he starts going like he thinks he's going to finish RDA and he doesn't, that's when you get in trouble in 3, 4, 5. You know, being a 5-round fight, that's where RDA lives. And it's a fight where RDA is not getting wrestled. And that's really where we see people soak up the clock, right? Is when they're shooting on RDA. So I think it'll be a good fight. You know, if it wasn't for the brain bleed, I'd probably be betting on Vicente Luque here, but I'll still pick him. And God, I hope he's healthy and I hope he's all good, man. Vicente Luque, 3 out of 5 rounds, the first 3, and then, you know, RDA starts coming on too little too late.
I gotta say, dude, I know the brain bleed is a concern, but can we be honest here? Dos Anjos is not a guy that I'm overly concerned about punches with. I like his body kicks. I like his grappling strength. When I watch a Dos Anjos fight, I know he's got a great tank, but I'm not thinking he's going to clobber Luque with these knockout strikes like Jeff Neal. And then I'm thinking back, watching Bilal Luque too, and I was amazed at Luque's ability to get up from a guy with as good of a fucking game as Bilal Muhammad. And, you know, when you dig, it's like when we watch these fights live and, you know, let's say Luque was the favorite there. Maybe I think I did pick him, you didn't, Finch, but whatever. I'm watching the fight thinking, okay, Luque's here, Bilal's only here. And then you're like, oh, you're underwhelmed by X fighter. And then when you rewatch the fight, you really appreciate moments from Luque, even in loss against Bilal. So that aided to my confidence here. I think this is an excellent matchup if he is okay up top. I'm going to say I believe he is. I think that the UFC medical staff and all, they're not going to allow someone to get in the cage with a brain injury that's really a high-risk injury, like it's still bleeding. You know, if that was the case, fuck, no, it wouldn't even be happening. This fight should be called off. But I think we're going to get a recovered Luque and maybe even a refreshed Luque. I know for a young guy, he's taken a bit of damage because he's just been in a lot of wars. But as I just said, man, I don't think the guy on the other side, being Dos Anjos, is as scary. He doesn't have the big hands, the power. He's got good kicks. He's a strong grappler. He's a cardio machine. But to me, he's not a guy that beats Vicente Luque.
Yeah. I mean, what do you think about the fact that Vicente Luque won't be shooting takedowns, though? It's not the normal way we see RDA beat at this weight class. So many wrestlers have beat him, but dude, it'll be interesting to see RDA putting pressure on him. I mean, I don't see any limit to RDA's gas tank when the person's not grappling him, you know? I think RDA might have a higher output. With that being said, for sure, the guy who could finish the fight more likely is Vicente Luque, man. If he could sail a head kick up there, I mean, you could imagine him putting RDA away, which would be a huge feather in his cap. So a lot on the line, big fight, big spotlight for him, and it'll probably be a good fight.
Fun main event. I like these Apex cards, man. They deliver like quiet hype, you know? Card without maybe the biggest names, but when you dig into the matchups, it's like, ooh, this is going to be an interesting Saturday night. I'm stoked for this Saturday, dude.
Right. Yeah, some of these are really good, you know. I would say this is a lighter card than the upcoming ones, AJ. I was kind of swiping through and previewing. Oh, we got Sugar Sean versus Aljamain. Oh, we got, you know, there are some fun fights coming up. So I would say this is actually one of the lighter cards of the upcoming ones we've got here. Through October, we'll be pretty entertained.
Oh, fuck yeah. The UFC brings the heat, man. I love it. Every weekend, pretty much, we got violence, and I can't wait for Saturday. And you know what I can't wait for, Mike? Lock of the night. Finch was jumping ahead. He's excited for parlays.
That's what I'm excited about.
Yeah. This section makes Mike nervous. It makes me nervous. This is just a nerve-wracking section. A lot riding on it. I was on a 2-fight streak coming into last week, and then I ran into a real fumble because I decided to pick Ode Osborne against an EV, which I'm looking back at hindsight 2020 and like, what's that jackass talking about? I don't know how. I don't know how it happened. It blows my mind. I really thought he would have a scrambling game and be tricky to deal with on the ground, but no, he was getting outstruck too. So respect to Asu Almabaya for proving me wrong last week. I'm excited for this week, Mike. I want to give you the floor. Give us your thoughts. Give us your luck.
Let's go with Tafon Nchukwi, the Don. I do think stylistically this fight makes perfect sense for him to win. And damn it, I need to do better on my locks, and I need to get him up to par. So let's go with Tafon bringing home the bag, and that'll be my lock of the week.
Mike Finch going Tafon Nchukwi. You know, I got to ride the same side. I think Tafon Nchukwi is going to beat AJ Dobson. And I think that I have a knack for picking some of these close money favorites. With Bozier last week, I really thought he would outstrike him. You're pick that. And I was like, damn, I should have rode him as the lock. I'm going with Nchukwi here. I think that experience at a higher level, even though, you know, you look 6-3 versus 6-2, Nchukwi's been in there with some dogs at the top of light heavyweight, you know, back end of the top, and now coming down a weight class, assuming the weight cut doesn't suck an absolute shitload out of him. You know, if he can come in on point with the weight, I expect him to be able to work a AJ Dobson. And I believe if he does really dial into his diet, this weight cut should actually be not much of an issue for him. My concern is, though, being, you know, a naturally bigger guy, the appetite's got to be high. He ends up going out and eating a little too much. I'm riding the same side. I don't like that we're on the same lock, though, Finch. I was kind of, I wanted to throw a different one. You want to be on my
lock section?
I wanted to be on the opposite. I wanted to fucking have something different. I wanted to mix it up, man.
You want to be on my parlay section. That's the energy you need. You don't want to be on my lock section.
But it's all right.
Listen, I feel you, bro.
I kind of was close to picking Luque. I wrote down before. I had 3 options before the show, man. I have Rountree, Nchukwi, and Luque. And the reason I stayed off of Luque is just the simple fact that brain bleeds has got me a little bit worried. The reason I didn't go Rountree, to be honest with you, is kind of the tag more than anything. And then this Nchukwi is, if he shows up, the weight cut is the X factor in this fight. If he shows up looking like shit on the scales, that's where I'm going to be concerned. Obviously, tune into Friday's weigh-in recap show so we can talk about everything after the weigh-ins. We get an even better look after we see the guys face off. But Finch and I both on Nchukwi. No, we didn't plan it. I had no idea that he was picking Nchukwi first thing, and I didn't know you were locking it either.
I love going first.
Yeah, let's go, Mike. Let's go. Parlay time, though, bro.
All the competition that try to compete, stand back, watch the bomb drop.
Parlay time. Listen, we're going to parlay it up. Mike Finch, you're on fire, bro. This dude is on fire.
It's the Hades hair, okay? You guys remember Hercules? Boom, I got the Hades hair going up. We're on the 4 parlay streak. Are you guys ready for number 5 so I can give you the full Stockton slap? We're going with Martin Buday. Come on, Buday. It's going to be a party because him and Terrance McKinney are finishing these fights, but you don't even need it. Just parlay the money lines. That's what I've been doing, and I've been counting money, okay? So we're going for the 5-peat on the parlay. We're going Buday, and we're going McKinney.
I like Buday and McKinney. That sits at plus 114. Mike Finch getting you a little dog money. You know what I'm saying? I'm going to go McKinney in my parlay too. I think that he's a great guy to lock in alongside, and I have to go against Mike Finch on the co-main event. I think Hakeem Dawodu is to win. I like plus 100 for Terrance McKinney versus Hakeem Dawodu, and I'm going to add a little extension. I think it's possible that the over 1.5 in that Buday fight could come through, but I just don't see it here to parlay up. So that's something just you could also know. Maybe that over 1.5. I know the big heavyweights, but they're on the sloppier and slower side, and I could see it going longer. Either way, I think we got 2 killer parlays this week, man.
And you guys got other fights to parlay shit up with. If you like something on the Contender Series, tune in to listen to what AJ thinks. You like something on the Bellator cards, you guys could always put them together. This past Saturday, to get those odds even, I threw Mr. Jakey Paul in there, and sure enough, it sweetened up the odds to even money for me. So if you guys want even sweeter odds, consider doing that. Parlays across, organizations, even across sports, like last Saturday, have worked out for me historically.
Mike Finch, a.k.a. the real parlay king. Guys, I have the Contender Series picks dropping. I'm doing a Dana White's Contender Series weigh-in recap show. We're going to look at the fighters on the scales. I'm going to break it down after the weigh-ins. I'm going to finish up the notes that I have to, and then I'm dropping that video. It should be out in the 12 a.m. Eastern time range to 1 a.m. Eastern time, depending on how long it takes me to upload. So keep your eyes peeled for that. Moneyline, another successful show in the books. If you guys enjoyed it, make sure to smash the likes, subscribe, and turn the post notifications on too so you don't miss a video. Mike Finch, my guy, it was great chatting it up. I'm glad that we got some good takes this week. I think we're on similar sides on a lot here.
I do think we are on similar sides on a lot of these fights. And the ones we aren't, those are always the most fun, folks. Absolutely. Remember, you guys just got to hear us out. We're not making picks for you, folks. Never in my life have I told you to make a pick. I'm just telling you what I think. Consider it and bet responsibly. And we'll keep it locked in here on Mondays. We're going to get right into a pay-per-view. I mean, we got some fun fights coming up. I told you, I was clicking through these next few UFC cards. I'm excited for them. I hope you guys are too. And, huge shout out to Tatiana Suarez for dominating that fight. I can't wait to go see them in October when I go down there. For sure, we're going to get some cool footage with her. So I'll try to keep more coming, folks. You guys stick around with AJ because he's got to work his ass off now and give you guys some contender picks, right?
Yes, sir. I'm dropping those Contender Series picks. I want to give you guys the takes, man. I think I got a great one. My Contender Series breakdowns normally do big ass numbers, and I look forward to being the Contender Series Mac again this year after last year. So keep your eyes peeled. It's coming. Much love to the people. We appreciate you. Give Finch a follow. Mike Finch Show, Mike Finch MMA across all platforms. Should support the guy. You know what I'm saying?
Thank you very much, AJ. We'll see you guys on Monday. And you always know I try to jump into the chat on Saturday. I might even let you know what I bet again.
Mike Finch, much love, people, much love. And I will see you all soon for the Contender Series. Peace out.